Boa tarde a todos, aos presentes e aos ausentes. Estamos aqui para comemorar 6 meses de pay-per-view enquanto loja física, galeria e livraria. Não é comum comemorar-se 6 meses de nada, a não ser que seja talvez de um filho ou 6 meses que deixámos de fumar ou coisas desse género. Quisemos fazê-lo por uma questão principalmente de celebração, até porque está perto de efemérides que merecem ser comemoradas e porque finalmente temos algum alívio nas medidas pandémicas que nos permitem estar um pouco mais desafogados, se quisermos dizer assim, e podemos celebrar todas estas coisas ao mesmo tempo. Serve também para lançar um livro do beaulieu, um catalogue saisonée, mas chamado saisonée, portanto temperado de uma outra forma, não obedece propriamente a uma cronologia de acontecimentos, mas sim é mais uma espécie de caminhada afetiva por entre o trabalho, talvez dos últimos 25 anos, do Derek enquanto editor, mas principalmente enquanto escritor. Todo o trabalho do Derek está online no site dele, ele disponibiliza todos os livros em PDF gratuitamente, e é exatamente por acreditar nisso que me deu também a liberdade total para fazer o que eu quisesse com o trabalho dele, sendo que achei que o que era interessante era compilá-lo como se fosse uma caminhada por entre o trabalho, em que muitas das vezes a impressão e a formatação do texto, a justaposição e a colagem e a paginação iriam fazer dele às vezes espelho, às vezes até faz de figura de contraditório, às vezes faz de comparação, e era isso que eu queria fazer, era uma espécie de uma análise depurada, mas com a leveza de uma caminhada e claramente com a alegria que é para mim ver o trabalho dele, que sinto que é de uma liberdade extrema e de uma espécie de um método cirúrgico, mas ao mesmo tempo de uma urgência enorme e de um afinado gosto, que é o que lhe reconheço, e a persistência em cavar o buraco até encontrar de facto o minério que se está à procura, é uma coisa que sempre me agradou no trabalho dele. Tive a liberdade total, e em todas as conversas que tive com ele, o desafio era sempre de cada vez mais remixar, colar, cortar, poder fazer tudo, no sentido em que a ideia não era agarrar no que estava feito e chapar na página, embora isso seja uma parte do que foi feito. Não era de facto de todo o que não se queria, era um livro super bem comportadinho. Queria-se algo que interrogasse e que dialogasse, que muitas das vezes as páginas, seja pela cor, pela forma, pelo feitio, pelas transparências usadas, pelo tipo de encadernação, que comunicasse com o trabalho dele, porque foi encadernado como ele faz, à mão, com linha, foi impresso em diferentes folhas, também como ele faz. Portanto, de alguma forma apoderei-me de algumas das técnicas e maneiras que ele faz as coisas para tentar refletir e dialogar.
And just blink at you.
Em 1968, Andy Warhol escreve o livro A, uma novela, onde, através da voz de Ondine, um dos habitantes da Factory de Andy Warhol, descreve a cidade de Nova York com os seus ritmos frenéticos e sons, retratando assim um bocado aquela altura, através, portanto, de um dos personagens mais ricos da Factory. Derek Beaulieu agarra nesse livro e dissecta-o ao ponto de retirar todas as intervenções, portanto, todas as palavras são rasuradas, eliminadas, restando assim apenas a pontuação e as onomatopeias, o que faz com que o ritmo fique muito mais evidente, tornado a nu. E esta intervenção acaba por ser uma não escrita, até porque é um apagar de, mas faz um striptease do texto, deixando muito mais claro, como o Theodor Adorno dizia, a pontuação é o semáforo da linguagem. E é isto que Derek tenta executar no seu projeto A, uma novela, com o mesmo nome. Publicado pelas edições Jamboate de Paris. No romance de Paul Auster, Ghosts, Derek Beaulieu assinala todas as ocorrências das cores, sendo que os personagens têm nomes de cor, sendo brown, blue, white, black. E à medida que as palavras vão ocorrendo, são registadas, são isoladas do resto do texto e permanecem no sítio onde se encontram no texto original. Derek depois substitui todas as palavras pela cor associada. Por exemplo, blue, que tem 4 letras, será representado por um retângulo azul do tamanho dessas 4 letras no sítio onde estava no texto original, formando assim uma panóplia de cores e dando-nos, mais uma vez, a noção de ritmo num sentido muito mais evidente e transportando o texto para outra dimensão muito mais plástica e visual, denunciando as intenções originais do autor. A partir do romance de Edwin Abbott, Flatland, onde um quadrado tem uma conversa com uma esfera e tenta compreender fora do seu plano, Derek transporta também o texto para outro plano, numa outra dimensão, fazendo a correspondência entre as ocorrências de letras. Por exemplo, se uma palavra começa por T, ele faz uma direta correspondência em linha à segunda letra que haja T na outra linha seguinte e assim consecutivamente até ao final do livro, ficando um emaranhado de linhas que é uma ligação invisível que Derek nos mostra agora que existe e revela-nos o plano escondido que estava no texto.
Truman Capote famously dismissed Jack Kerouac's writing, saying, "That's not writing, that's typewriting." Samuel Beckett did the same about William S. Burroughs and said, "That's not writing, that's plumbing." That's not writing, that's typing. That's not writing, that's someone else typing. That's not writing, that's Googling. That's not writing, that's pasting. That's not writing, that's blogging. That's not writing, that's wasted, unproductive time. That's not writing, that's stupid. That's not writing, that's a coloring book. That's not writing, that's coming up with ideas. That's waiting, that's a mad scribble. That's not writing, that's pointing and lettering. That's not writing, that's tape recording. That's not writing, that's following the herd, word processing, copying and pasting. That's not writing, that's directing. That's not writing, that's using highfalutin words to confuse readers. That's not writing, that's aggregating, and there are already plenty of aggregators out there. That's not writing, that's printing. That's art, that's Tourette's, that's posing, that's button mashing, and anyone can do that. That's not writing, that's vandalism. That's not writing, that's acting. That's blabbing. That's hiking. That's just a knife he's using to eat pie with. That's not writing, that's bullying. That's not writing, that's dentistry. That's not writing, that's just endless blathering. That's not writing, that's yelling. That's not writing, that's butchery. That's a fortune cookie. That's emoting. That's just dressing it up. That's not writing, that's just playing around. That's not writing, that's daydreaming.
Nos anos 60, apareceram umas pequenas letras friccionáveis por marcas como Letra 7, Mecanorma, entre outras, que ajudavam os designers gráficos, arquitetos, nos seus trabalhos. Estas folhas, no mundo pré-computadores, ajudavam imenso no trabalho de planificar o design gráfico, inclusive popularizado por pessoas como David Carson na revista Blá Blá, na revista Ray Gun, e modificou até o design gráfico todo a partir dos anos 70 e 80, até aos idos de 90, até que caiu em desuso. Hoje em dia é muito difícil encontrar este tipo de material, e é o tipo de material que muita da poesia concreta e visual atualmente se ocupa, porque o seu caráter rasurável e analógico é impossível de mimetizar. Este é um dos fortes campos de trabalho de Derek Beaulieu, que utiliza aplicações em vidro, papel e outros suportes. Derek Beaulieu editou na sua editora caseira, apropriadamente chamada House Press, mais de 250 publicações de diferentes autores. Até que houve um momento em que decidiu não editar mais nada, não publicar mais nada, não queria ter nada a ver com a publicação. Isto durou alguns meses. Surgiu-lhe novamente a vontade e decidiu chamar-lhe No Press, exatamente por esse não, por essa recusa, assumiu-a por completo e desde então já editou mais de 460 títulos, mais ou menos à média de 2 por semana. Derek é ainda diretor das artes literárias no centro de Banff, onde é professor, em Calgary, Alberta, no Canadá, e é este ano novamente poeta laureado. É ainda diretor do departamento de artes visuais da UB Web. E é sem mais demoras que vou passar a palavra ao Derek. Obrigado a todos por terem vindo.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us today for the celebration of so many exceptional months of publishing by Saul and Pay-Per-View. Belated happy birthday to you, Saul. Congratulations on such an incredible space, a beautiful gallery. And I want to thank you all so much for being here in part of the launch, the celebratory launch for Catalogue Saisonée. I am so honored that Saul would put something together like this. The book is, I've seen proof pages, I haven't held it yet, and I can tell it's a real masterwork. I'm so honored that he's looked over 25 years of my publishing and created this statement, this summation, and this way of interacting with each page that makes publishing, writing, and thinking through writing so tactile and so physical and so something that we can engage with as people, that I'm just incredibly honored. I hope that you have an opportunity to congratulate Saul, to pick up the book, to enjoy the evening. And I wanted to share a few brief readings in acknowledgement of this fabulous event. I'm reading to you here from Banff, Alberta, Canada. It's been snowing for the last few days, and it's cold and chilly, but it's still there's a certain amount of optimism as we're moving into a different phase of COVID, and looking forward to new books, new conversations, new possibilities. So I wanted to read to you today 3 pieces, all of which are by Canadian poet B.P. Nicol. B.P. Nicol was a huge influence on me. I was honored to edit his collected fiction, Nights on Prose Mountain, that was published a few years ago. And B.P. Nicol, who passed away in 1988, stands as kind of a real influence figure over so much of Canadian writing, because he was incredibly generative, incredibly generous, incredibly kind, and incredibly devoted to exploration of language. And he didn't see himself as a master poet or anything so grandiose. He described his writing as being in an apprenticeship to language. And that phrase, an apprenticeship to language, has really meant a great deal to me. It's really reflected how I want to see writing and how I see publishing as well, and something like the conversations I've been having with Saul over catalogue saisonée, and this idea of exchange and exploration and apprenticeship and discovery about what language can do, how it can surprise us, and how it continues to be a conversation between writer and text, text and audience, and all of those things, and publisher and designer and gallery space, and these big senses of what community can be. So I'm going to share 3 pieces with you today. The first one is called Gorg, a detective story. A man walks into a room. There is a corpse on the floor. The man has been shot through the temple, the bullet entering at a 45-degree angle above the eyes and exiting almost through the top of the skull. The man does not walk out of the room. The corpse stands up and introduces himself. Later, they will be a party. You will not be invited, and feeling hurt, go off into a corner to sulk. There is a gun on the windowsill. You rig up a pulley which enables you to pull the trigger while pointing the gun between your eyes and holding it with your feet. A man walks in on you. You are lying on the floor, dead. You have been shot through the temple, the bullet exiting almost through the top of your skull. You stand up and introduce yourself. The man lies on the floor, and you shoot him between the eyes, the bullet piercing his temple and exiting through his skull into the floor. You rejoin the party. The man asks you to leave since you weren't invited. You notice a stranger in the doorway who, pulling out a gun, shoots you between the eyes. You introduce each other and lie down. Your host is polite but firm and asks you both to leave. At this point, a man walks in and introduces himself. You are lying on the floor and cannot see him. Your host appears not to know him, and the man leaves. The party ends, and the room is empty. The man picks up the corpse and exits. Welcome to the party. The second piece is a short story called The True Eventual Story of Billy the Kid. B.P. Nicol won the Governor General's Award, the highest literary award in Canada, for this piece, and it's the only time in Canadian history that such an avant-garde piece of writing has won that prestigious award. The True Eventual Story of Billy the Kid. This is the true eventual story of Billy the Kid. It is not the story as he told it, for he did not tell it to me. He told it to others who wrote it down, but not correctly. There is no true eventual story but this one. Had he told it to me, I would have written a different one. I could not write the true one had he told it to me. This is the true eventual story of the place in which Billy died. Dead, he let others tell the story. The untrue one. This is the true story of Billy and the town in which he died and why he was called a kid and why he died. Eventually, all the other stories will appear untrue beside this one. 1. The Kid. Billy was born with a short dick, but they did not call him Richard. Billy might have grown up in a town or a city. It does not matter. The true story is that Billy grew and his dick didn't. Sometimes he called it a penis or a prick, but it still didn't grow. And as he grew, he called others the same thing, and their pricks and penises were big and heavy as dictionaries. But his dick remained short for Richard. Billy was not fast with words, so he became fast with a gun. They called him the Kid because he became, and so he became faster and meaner. They called him the Kid because he was younger and meaner and had a shorter dick. Could they have called him instead Billy the Man or Bloody Bonnie? Would he have bothered having a faster gun? Who can tell? The true eventual story is Billy became the faster gun. That is his story. 2. History. History says that Billy the Kid was a coward. The true eventual story is that Billy the Kid is dead, or he'd probably shoot history in the balls. History always stands back calling people cowards or failures. Legend says that Billy the Kid was a hero who liked to screw. The true eventual story is that were Billy the Kid alive, he'd probably take Legend out for a drink, match off in the bathroom, and blow him full of holes. Legend always has a bigger dick than history, and history has a bigger dick than Billy had. Rumor has it that Billy the Kid never died. Rumor is Billy the Kid. He never gets anywhere, being too short-lived. 3. The town. The town in which Billy the Kid died is the town in which Billy the Kid killed his first man. He shot him in the guts and they spilled out into the street like bad conversation. Billy did not stand around and talk. He could not be bothered. The true eventual story is that the man Billy killed had a bigger dick. Billy was a bad shot and shot him in the guts. This bothered Billy. He went into the backyard and practiced for months. Then he went and shot the dick off everyone in sight. The sheriff of the town said, Billy, why are you such a bad boy? And Billy said, Sheriff, I'm sick of being the kid in this place. The sheriff was understanding. The sheriff had a short dick too, which is why he was sheriff and not out robbing banks. These things affect people differently. The true eventual story is Billy and Sheriff were friends. If they had been more aware, they could have been lovers. They were not more aware. Billy ran around shooting his mouth off and the dicks off everyone else, and the sheriff stood on the sidelines cheering. This is how law and order came to the Old West. 4. Why? When Billy died, everyone asked why he died, and Billy said he was sorry, but it was difficult to speak with his mouth full of blood. People kept asking him why anyway. Billy hated small talk, so he closed his eyes and went up to heaven. God said, Billy, why'd you do all those things? And Billy said, God, my dick was too short. So God said, Billy, I don't see what you're talking about, which made Billy mad. If Billy had had a gun, he would have shot God full of holes. The true eventual story is that Billy the Kid shot it out with himself. There was no one faster. He snuck up on himself and shot himself from behind the grocery store. As he lay dying, he said to the sheriff goodbye, and the sheriff said goodbye. Billy always had been a polite kid. Everyone said, too bad his dick was so small. He was the true eventual kid. And lastly, as a piece to, once again, by B.P. Nicol, as a chance to summarize that relationship that we have between writer, text, and reader, and to acknowledge the absence, that I'm not there with you to celebrate, to celebrate Saul and his work, to celebrate the book and the gallery, and that there is an absence between my opportunity to meet you, your opportunity to meet me, the three of us to be able to be together with that text. You turn the page, and I am here. That in itself is interesting. To me, at least, it is interesting since my existence begins as you turn the page and begin to read me. I have no way of knowing your motives, though I know or say or assume you have opened this book hoping to learn more about me or whoever it is you hoped or did not hope to encounter in your reading. So now you have begun. You have begun reading what I am saying and am once again finding a beginning. I am not alive, am I? I am simply these words as they follow one another across this page, which is so white that were they not here, and were I not here, you would close this book to escape that whiteness. Is that whiteness like something else? Do you see it as a void, perhaps, that is necessary for it to be filled with words before you would consider turning each page carefully to examine not the white, but the retreat from white into the black letters placed upon it, giving me my tenuous existence? I am aware of the white. I am aware of the white as I find meaning through your eyes. When you are not here reading, I am aware of nothing. I can make no statement about that. My only awareness is now as you read this. I am aware of the white only as an absence,
of awareness, a gap between words as you read me. I have only your perception of me, of what I am, words and letters of movement, which is simply the turning of pages. Now we have begun. We have begun again as we did before so many times. Each time you are different. Each time there is something about you that is different. I am always the same. Always the flow, which is your vision of me, which is my vision of me, is the same. From page to page, I am the same each time. Only you are different. I am not aware of your difference. I have no consciousness in that sense. For me, you are always the same. For me, I am always the same. Each time there is the thrill for us of discovering my existence, or the fear of it, or the boredom with it, the desire somehow to push me away from you, thinking you are bored or frightened, and then I exist no more. I am no longer inside you, inside your mind. The vision centers activated the neural responses that make the black shapes dissolve into words, into meanings that follow one another from page to page. At this moment, I exist only through you. At this point, I am you. There is no distinction between us. We are this writing. We are one and the same. We always follow these words across the page in which we found us. It is all we have. It is not sad. If you forget your you completely, then I am most completely. Anything you do beyond this, outside of my existence, outside of my awareness, does not matter to me. Do you ever lie? Do you ever push people away because you are angry and say instead, oh, I'm reading. I can't be bothered now. It makes no difference to me. I am because you are reading. I am because we are here inside your mind where the black shapes have pressed me. I am because you are here in my world and not out there in that world. I have never known that world. I have never had an existence there. My only existence is here. My only awareness of my existence is through you. My awareness is your awareness. You are me. I have no feelings about it. I exist only because you turn away from your world and enter into mine and become me. Now I am. Your you is not. Later I will not be, and that part of myself I call your you will close this book and become again in that world. It does not matter. I have no interest in your you. I have no awareness of it. I mention it only because the person who wrote this put it down here to be mentioned or read as if there were an I mentioning it, which there isn't. There are only these words, these letters piled together in a sequence. You could erase that. You could change all of this. You could arrange it so I could be forever. You could leave your world behind and enter my world and become me. Have you ever said to yourself, oh, I wish this book would never end? It doesn't have to end. You can change this book. You can make it go on forever. You can become me. There is no danger in this for me. There is no desire or emotion. I am or I am not. It makes no difference to me. Probably you retreat from what I say. Probably you push it away, saying, well, after all, there is an actual person who did write this book. There is his name. You are fooling yourself. He is no longer important to my existence. I exist now because of you. Only you. You are all that gives me meaning. There is no meaning in this. My meaning is in my being, is in your reading of me. Now I am. I am because you read me. I was then that person who wrote me. Then I was because of him. If he is reading me, then I am because of him. Now you are reading me. Now I am because of you. You are me. We are. I am. When you close this book, I will be waiting. Always, I am waiting. Even now, as I am being in you, there is a part of me waiting. I wait with no consciousness of waiting. If you pick me up and read me, I am. If you don't, I'm not. Always I am waiting. If I had a consciousness, my consciousness would be of waiting without pain. I am waiting without consciousness of waiting. If you never pick me up, I will be waiting. You will pick me up. You will be different. Another part of me will still be waiting. Someday all my parts will be picked up at once and begin, and still there will be parts of me waiting. Always, I am waiting. Somewhere I am waiting, waiting without consciousness of waiting. Waiting. Thank you again for being part of this celebration. Thank you again, Saul, for this beautiful book, Catalogue Saisonée. Congratulations, happy birthday, and I hope you all enjoy the evening, enjoy the music and celebration. I wish I was there to be with you, and thank you again. Bye.